What's up, fantasy football friends? My name is Carter McCracken.
My name is Max Lampkin.
And today we are going to be giving you our breakout candidates for the 2023 NFL season.
Yeah, so guys, what we define a breakout as is just someone that has put up solid numbers before in fantasy, regardless of their finish, but someone that we think this year is primed for stepping up and possibly finishing as one of the top performers at their positions.
Yeah, as well, I do have a rookie, so sorry about that, but I had to put him in there, so.
Plenty of people do rookies at breakouts.
Yeah.
We try to give you guys a little more than that, though.
Right. So let's get this started. I'm going to go with my first quarterback. That's going to be Kyler Murray. 35.5 pass attempts per game last year. You love that volume. ADP of 182, so you're going to get him way late in your draft. With a healthy Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore, I think that his efficiency goes up. He's eyeing an earlier return, so it's going to be 8 months, almost 9 months in their season opener since his ACL injury. Typically, those types of injuries only take 8. So I do expect him to come back, maybe week 2, week 3 at the worst. But reports out of camp is that he's attacking rehab. He's doing everything good. You do worry a little bit about his focus, but it seems to be there. This is all taken from thelines.com. And he has the legs to get it done. He's been explosive in fantasy before. So I think if he comes back healthy with those receivers, he's going to be someone with great value later in the draft.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting pick considering where he's at in that stage of coming back from injury. Mm-hmm. So I think, like you said with his ADP, no one's really thinking about him, I feel like. But yeah, man, I mean, if you can get him late, that's a guy that is definitely primed to break out this year again. But all right, guys, so this is a name you're going to hear on this podcast over and over and over again. I'm certainly never going to get tired of saying it. Justin Fields, he's my number one breakout. I think I speak for both of us on that. But he's a guy that I think can finish as QB1 this year. Outside of Mahomes, I think he has the best shot at it. So last year we obviously saw his rushing. His rushing numbers were astounding. What he was doing on a per-game basis was crazy. I remember his run against the Dolphins was ridiculous. I watched it live. But obviously the passing department, a little bit to be desired. Did have 17 touchdowns, though, which is definitely a good thing. If he can come down on the interceptions a little, he had 11, which was tied for 10th, so obviously not bad. But if he can bring up the completion percentage, the volume, I think with DJ Moore, hopefully a healthy Darnell, Cole Kmet, Another season in that. We just saw him get signed to a nice extension. And then Chase Claypool operating as the wide receiver 3 in that offense. I think Fields is primed for a breakout. You can get him at the bottom of the 4th round. I would certainly be confident taking him there. I think he's a great player to have on your roster this year. The number 1 QB I would be targeting. So my second breakout at quarterback is Daniel Jones. You guys have heard me talk about him. I love what they've done in that offense, adding Darren Waller, adding Paris Campbell, drafting Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee in the 3rd round, a guy that can really stretch the field for them. I just think Daniel Jones is going to build on what he did last year. We saw him with the rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, 700 yards, 700 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. But I just think that rushing upside gives you guys a great floor, and that's someone that you can get very late. 113 ADP is what I'm looking at. So someone that late that can give you really underrated rushing upside. He's one of probably crazy to say, he's probably one of the top 5 rushing quarterbacks in our league. Especially, they do a lot of designed runs for him. So they run RPOs with him. So I think Daniel Jones is going to improve on the 15 touchdowns we saw last year, only threw 5 interceptions, which is very encouraging. So Daniel Jones is a guy that I'm certainly targeting late in my drafts. I think if you can get a stack with him and Waller, that's great. So Daniel Jones, guys, I think is primed to have a very big year this year.
Yeah, and as you may have mentioned or not, QB1 last year, so he's going to be someone that is looking to even improve on that, honestly.
He was the number 9 overall QB. I think he's very undervalued. I could have put him as a sleeper too, but I think he just takes a big leap in terms of fantasy production.
Yeah, and just as an overall quarterback,
right?
Like how one should be in the league. We're going to move on to running backs now. My running back number 1 is Jahmyr Gibbs, the freshman or the rookie that I was talking about in the intro. 5 touchdowns of 20-plus yards in 2022 with Alabama and 8 in 2020 and 2021 with Georgia Tech, all out of the backfield receiving. So that's absolutely amazing. Can get you huge games based off 1 reception. Great PPR option, ADP of 36. So you're looking at the end of the 3rd round. I'm not going to be mad if any of you take him anywhere in the 3rd round. I think he's a great option even at the turn of the 2-3. And, yeah, that's all I got for Jahmyr Gibbs. Next is Rachaad White. He's giving you rushing and receiving potential, 129 rushes, 50 receptions on 58 targets. So he only missed 8 of his targets. And that's with Fournette there. So you hear that volume, 129 rushes. You love that as a backup. And 50 receptions. I think both of those numbers go up. He's going to be a bell cow in that offense. Being drafted behind Alexander Madison and Cam Akers, 2 guys I talked about in the sleeper episode. But someone that I see as probably even better options than them, to be honest, if not right on par with them. And, yeah, you're looking at the middle of 6 for him. I think that's a great option for an RB2. If you can get him in the middle of 6, that's going to be great for you.
Yeah, that's a guy that both you and I, the more we look at him, the more we're coming around to him. I think if you have him as your flex, I'm loving that all day in my draft. But anyways, guys, my number 1 breakout running back, and I guess you could say he already broke out his rookie season, but I'm looking for him a bounce back season in terms of efficiency and just overall production, Najee Harris. So his ADP is 25 right now, the 2-3 turn, which is where I'm targeting him in my draft. Guys, he was not very efficient at the start of the season. After their bye week, I believe he finished as RB7. But just to read you guys some encouraging stats, he was 5th in juke rate, and he was 4th in evaded tackles. So a guy that I feel like we don't think of him as an elusive back. Mm-hmm. But, guys, he's making guys miss. And if he's in, like I said with Kenny Pickett, if they're in a more open offense, more efficient offense, Harris's looks are going to be that much more valuable. I think he certainly builds on 41 receptions. I forget what he had his rookie year. I think it was close to 70 or 80, somewhere in there. But, guys, he's going to get more than 41 receptions, 229 receiving yards. We're going to see that go up. I just see his overall volume going up. I see his production going up. I think he's primed for a big season. I think he finishes far above where he's getting drafted right now. I love him there. I think you guys should all go target him in your drafts. So Najee Harris is a guy I love this year. I think he takes a big step forward. Whoever owns him is going to be very happy. And then a guy you and I both like, Miles Sanders. He's going at the 48th pick right now, so at that 4-5 turn, which I think is great value. He's the undisputed running back in that offense. I think he takes on a receiving role that we have not seen out of him. Obviously only had, I think it was 20 receptions last year, very, very low. I think with a rookie quarterback, I think Bryce Young could target him out of the backfield more than we've seen, more than we're accustomed to. But Miles Sanders was great on the ground last year. The guy was 5th in rushing yards, 4.89 yards per carry. Obviously, a different line coming over to Carolina. May not has as high value touches. Did have 11 touchdowns last year. Could see that more around the 7-8 range. But a guy that I think they're going to go to, a guy that I think is going to get close to 20 touches a game. So he's very encouraged. I mean, guys, when we're talking 4-5, this is where you start getting to that RB dead zone, the infamous RB dead zone. And I think Miles Sanders is a guy that if you're looking for high upside, even though he kind of has, I feel like he has a solid floor, but it could definitely, I feel like you can make the case for it as a shaky floor because we don't know what to expect with that offense. But Miles Sanders, I think if things go right, he's a guy that I'm looking could finish as a high-end RB2, if not sneak in there as RB overall 11, 12. So a guy that I'm really looking forward to drafting. I think at the 4-5 turn again, guys, I think that's great value.
All right, so next we got wide receivers, and I'm going to start it off with Terry McLaurin. This is a guy that I really like this year. Eric Bieniemy coming over into that offense. I think we see more production out of them.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
And Yeah, 1,100 yards on only 700 on only 77 receptions last
700
year.
receptions.
Yeah. 90% snap share, so he's out there on the field. He's going to see the targets. He can get open, so he could even see more targets, more receptions next year. ADP of 53, which puts him in round 5 around D-Hops, Miles Sanders, DJ Moore, Darren Waller. I like him in that range. I like any of those guys in that range. Yeah. So if he falls to you and those other guys it's really pick them at that point, who you want, who you need on your team. And yeah, as a wide receiver 2 or flex, I'm happy with him. He's going to build on a really solid team if he's in that position. Next is Marquise Brown, 12 games played last year, wide receiver 6 before getting injured. 67 receptions, 709 yards, ADP of 85. And as I said earlier, if Kyler Murray can come back earlier like we expect him to, before the game 3, game 4, then I don't think there's any way he doesn't return top of the 8th round value. Marquise Brown is the guy I'm looking for, certainly in the 8th round.
Yeah, so guys, my breakout is already a guy that you could say maybe he broke out last year or even at the end of his rookie season, but going into his 3rd year, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. ADP of 19, I personally have him higher than that. I like him around the 1-2 turn, which I think as we get closer to the season, I feel like more and more drafts are going to see him taken there. Yeah. I just think he's a high-volume guy. If you've watched any of our other videos when talking about Sam Laporta, we're looking for that next guy in that Lions offense. Mm-hmm. In terms of receiving, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get a lot of receptions, but Amon-Ra is the undisputed number 1 guy in that offense, which is an explosive offense. Was 10th in yardage, was 6 touchdowns. Now, I'd like to see, I think he had 6 plays where he was down at the 1-yard line last year. 21 red zone targets, guys, which was good for 8th, ahead of guys like Garrett Wilson, Deontay Johnson, even A.J. Brown. So a guy that's going to get looked to when you're looking for valuable touches from your guys. His air yards are lower than the other elite guys you're going to see, but that's just because they're scheming him open for the underneath routes, which is key, and also another word for just volume. He's going to see a bunch of targets. He's going to get a bunch of receptions. When you're playing PPR, those are the type of guys you like. So Amon-Ra, I think, is primed for a great year. I think we're going to see a lot more ceiling out of him. I'd like to see him finish with about 1,400 yards. I think he has it in him. But moving on to my next receiver, a guy that I absolutely love, DJ Moore. So I've had him 2 or 3 years straight in fantasy. Guys, he's gonna finish as a top wide receiver 2, if not break into the wide receiver 1 territory. Again, going at 54 in the draft, so you're looking at top of the 5th round, mid 5th round. I think if you can stack him with Justin Fields, that's one of the dirtiest stacks you'll get this year. A guy that I really love. I just think he's very dynamic. Can stretch the field, can play the underneath game. He's going to be available in all types of routes. I just think that Chicago offense can be a lot better. DJ Moore, guys, I'm just head over heels with him. I just think he's going to be great. I'm certainly going to consider him in the 4th round if he's there. Someone that I'm not hesitating on at all. I don't think there's much more to say. I love the guy, guys. Please go get him in your league. You're not going to be disappointed. If he's your wide receiver 2, you're going to be very happy with that return.
Yeah, uber talented.
Yes.
And now he's in an opportunity where he can really make that shine. Next, we got tight ends. I'm going to start off with Evan Engram. Tight end 1 over the last 5 games in PPR formats last year. 32 receptions, 383 yards, 3 touchdowns over that span. Continued that momentum into the playoffs, so if he can just continue doing what he's doing, I think he's looking great. ADP of 78, so we're looking in the 7th round. And yeah, if he continues his production, as I was saying, absolute steal, and he's going to be a great asset for a lot of championship contenders. Next is David Njoku. I think we see it from him this year, what we've all been looking for. If Watson can come back to form, I think that this is a very, very, very good pick. Being drafted right around Evan Engram in the 7th round. So 7th round, guys, I'm kind of looking at tight ends, and I like both of those picks. Probably will be there. Deshaun Watson, in his career, has 104 career touchdown passes in the regular season. 21 of them thrown to tight ends. That's 1/5. So just play with a little mind game here. If Watson throws for 30 touchdowns, that's 6 touchdowns for Njoku, or the tight ends in general, but you'd assume most of those go to Njoku. And he'd be tied with Hawkinson and Dawson Knox last year at number 5. And those were guys that we saw as big upside tight ends for touchdowns. I love Njoku. I love Engram. Both of them in that round, I think, are great options for you.
Breaking them down with the math, dude. I love it. Yeah, man. I mean, Njoku, especially if you guys play best ball by any chance, a guy that I think we've taken in just about every single best ball draft we've done. But yeah, dude, if he can put it all together this year,
I think he does. If Watson performs, I don't see how he doesn't.
He's going to be a very
It's got to come sometime, you know.
Yeah, whoever owns him is going to be very happy. But all right, guys, getting you started off, 56 ADP, a guy that broke my heart in 2021, broke a lot of hearts last year too. That guy's Darren Waller. Coming over to the Giants through trade, I think he's going to have a huge year. You've heard us say it before. Training camp reports are just raving about him. He's Daniel Jones' number 1 target. What we saw in preseason from the limited time he played was very encouraging. I just think Darren Waller, new situation, new team, new quarterback. We saw what Brian Dable was able to do with that team last year. I think Waller slides right in there. I think he operates as the wide receiver 1. I'm not even going to read you stats about last year because we're going to trash last year. This is a new year. I love Darren Waller. I think at the bottom of the 5th, that's great value. I think he's a guy that's going to outperform that. I think he could easily finish as a top 3 tight end. But Waller, guys, he's going to break out. He's going to get massive volume. A guy definitely to target if you like taking tight ends early. And then my final breakout is Chigoziem Okonkwo for the Tennessee Titans. Over the last few games of the season, he started to play far more. We really didn't know about him, and he had actually played 16 games last year, but no one really knew about him until I believe it was like week 10 or so. But the guy has great talent. We saw him make a lot of great contested catches, can run routes. He's just a guy at 133 ADP. You're looking at top of the 12th, bottom of the 11th. So if you're a guy that likes to wait on your tight end, that's a guy I'm targeting with a lot of upside. We've seen Tannehill support Delaney Walker, Jonnu Smith, and even Austin Hooper for a little bit last year. So Chig is a guy that I like. I know a lot of pages have him as a sleeper, but I'm putting him as a breakout. I think he's has far more potential than just a sleeper this year. We have him ranked 12th in our consensus rankings. I think he can outperform that. He's just a guy that we saw score touchdowns. I think he's primed for a big year this year, guys. So that wraps up our breakouts. Hopefully these are guys that honestly we would even target over ADP just because of the ceiling we see in them. So hopefully you guys are able to take away something with this, kind of rearrange your rankings. But guys that we think are primed for big years.
Yep, that's all we got for today. So I hope you guys have a good one. Like and subscribe. Check out our Discord. Look at our website. Links to all of our socials there. Give us a follow. And thank you. Have a good one.
Draft Jahmyr Gibbs.
Thank you guys so much for watching today. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed our content. Also, comment down in the comment section below if you have any questions about fantasy or about anything we just said. We will happily respond to any of those. We have a Discord chat as well if you'd like to connect. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter if you want to follow us there for some more content. We will be posting on YouTube a bunch, and a lot of that's going to go onto those types of socials. So yeah, share with your fantasy football friends. Join the community, and let's grow this thing. Let's make it big. I hope you have a great day, and thank you again for watching.